All right, hey guys, McKinnis here, coming to you from the confines of my own kitchen. It's spring break in Washington, and I just wanted to find some time to talk to you a little bit about the flipped classroom model. Really kicking around the idea. Pretty cool approach. Lots of good information out there that leans towards the success rates of this flipped classroom. Nonetheless, just wanted to quickly give you an overview, a little bit of education on the flipped classroom because it really is. It's turning tradition on its head. And I've built this slideshow here. In the flipped classroom, many teachers across the country are experiencing with the flipped model of education, including me. I'm going to in the fourth quarter with a couple of my CTE education courses. So what it is and why is everyone talking about it? So what is it and why is everyone talking about it? That's a good question, right? Well, here's what it is. The flipped classroom really inverts traditional teaching models and methods, delivering instruction online outside of the class and moving homework into the classroom. If you see the picture to the left here, I've kind of drawn a little bit of a diagram of what today's education looks like. You have the lecture, which is classroom based, right? Really inefficient, not particularly engaging, and it's really a one-shot deal. Students either are there to get the lecture or they're not. And then they go home to do homework, which is that application piece. And that's obviously done at home, and it's really individualized, and it's not particularly engaging at all. So really, here's the inversion. The traditional model, the teacher's role was kind of the sage of the class. You stood up there, you provided whatever information the students were going to need in order to be successful for their homework that night or that project that they were going to be working on at home. And really, taking into account what lectures today and what the classroom looks like today, here we've got a little bit of a drawing that I put together on what the classroom may look like today. You may have the teacher again in front of the room, the front row student very attentive. Then you have the back, the person in the next row kind of leaned back on the back of their chair. You're always getting on them to sit up straight, put their chair on the floor kind of stuff. Then you have the one in the third row who's asleep. And then you never know what's going on in that far back row. You know, you could have kids on the floor messing around. You never know. And really, this is because we have so many diverse learning styles in the classroom that we're trying to address. And I think that this inversion, this flipped model, gives the teacher's role more of a guide on the side. You're kind of they go home, get the lecture based upon, social media. Students are very motivated by movies, by songs, by social media. So it would behoove us as teachers to make sure that we're using some of these things in the classroom to engage. So anyways, the flip model is the teacher's role, guide on the side. They're going to go home, watch some lecture videos that you've put together, and kind of gather that base information, that foundation that they're going to need. And then they're going to come back to class the next day or the next couple of days, however it is. And then they're going to work on a project that you give them. But the nice part is that they're going to be working on that in class. The application piece of the learning circle really is where I think students generate a lot of questions and really need that teacher there. So what this does is it kind of flips everything on its head and it puts the teacher in more of a role of a facilitator to answer questions when those questions are going to be generated in that application piece of the learning circle. So students watch lectures at home, as I've talked about, at their own pace, communicating with peers and teachers via online classroom and chat room opportunities. One of the classrooms chat room models that I really like right now is Edmodo, edmondo.com. Sorry, I had to think about it for a second. to use just to communicate outside of the class. There's all sorts of great things out there. The concept is really engagement takes place in the classroom with the help of the instructor, and that's where the application piece comes into play. Now let's talk a little bit about how this came to be, the framework, the active learning components, and all that kind of good jazz that goes along with the flipped classroom. Here we have obviously the flipped classroom, right? Uses educational technology. So if you're not real familiar with technology, you're probably feeling a little bit of anxiety about this. But you'll find that there's all sorts of stuff out there to make life easy on you. And that educational technology is used to influence the learning environment. Of course, coming out this other side provides opportunity for learning through activity. And that's really the key. I don't feel like there's enough learning through activity or enough real-world engagement right now in the world, in the classroom. And so this flipped classroom model actually uses opportunity to provide learning through activity and cuts down on all the lecture time in the classroom. There's really too much lecture time right now in the classroom. And again, this influences the learning environment. What it looks like in application. So Clintondale High School near Detroit has employed this model with great success, and I suggest that you take a look at the model that they've employed by just doing some research on this particular high school and school district. But teachers would create essentially 3 videos a week, and then the students watched those videos, which are 5 to 7 minutes long, either at home or in school. If they don't have internet access at home, there's always that big access question. So you really have to provide a station, maybe either in your classroom or in the library, where students who don't have internet access can go watch these videos. And then class time is really devoted towards labs and interactive projects to illustrate concepts, which is really cool. And then what our outcomes are. What are the outcomes? Students receive instant feedback because they're in class, right? They're asking questions, instant feedback. Students don't get frustrated because you, as a facilitator, are there to help them, to kind of guide them through the problems that they may be having in grasping the concept to apply it to the project. And then teachers can revisit concepts that students don't truly understand. So you really get a good framework of what students are having a hard time grasping, and you can really revisit that in the class. And then teachers support students in class. I think we discussed that earlier. More of a facilitator. So here were the results of the schools that were pulled in terms of what's going on with their flipped and what's the results of that. Well, before the flipped model, these schools, we had 44% failing freshman math, 50+% failing LA at the freshman level, and 736 discipline issues. And then after the flip, we have 13% failing math, 19% failing LA, and then the discipline issues go down tremendously. So you can see there's a great benefit to this model as a whole. And I really think it's a great concept, and I suggest that I really suggest that you take a look at it and think about maybe employing it in your classroom. All right, thank you.